Hello, hello. Good morning. Guess we'll wait for some people to come in here. Give it about 10 minutes, get some. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I hope everybody had a great weekend. I had a very busy weekend. I am very exhausted. But having yesterday off was awesome. I got a lot of sleep and got to go and see my little baby. Hey, Happy. Good morning. Are you ready to? I think, you know what? There's supposed to be a surprise witness. If you guys recall, on Friday, they talked about a new witness that had contacted the police and said they had some information. Everybody was supposed to work on that this weekend. Yeah, it looks like you're the only one here, Happy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. So I say maybe I'll give it a minute before we get started. I know I think everything's right. So Michelle got arrested. Hey, good morning, Frazzled. There's Frazzled. How was your weekend? I had a crazy, crazy busy weekend. I was so tired. I'm telling you. Sunday night, I sat down and my back was on fire, and I went to bed and slept 12 hours. I never, ever do that. I was so tired. You've been sick for 2. You're still sick? Oh my gosh. Not happy. I'm sorry. That sucks. We'll get better. So did everybody hear the news? Michelle got another DUI. She got a battery charge, a obstruction of justice. The girl is absolutely out of control. Of course, according to her, none of that really happened, but whatever. You know. I'm telling you, when she hurts somebody, it's going to be a bad deal because she spent a night in jail and she's still against a police officer. Yeah, apparently. She says from her mouth. I don't know. I'm sure her mouth could do it. That doesn't surprise me, but she's driving again already. And here in Arizona, you would not, your first DUI, your car is gone for 30 days immediately. There's no getting it back for 30 days. Nope, she was driving this morning. I don't get it. I mean, they're going to be sorry when she hurt somebody over there, I think. But thank God it's not me. My God. Can you imagine being her? Holy hell. Could not. But I'm going to go ahead and get this started so we can see what's going on. I'm excited for this new witness, whoever it is. She's going to keep it until she does. I know, Happy. That's what I'm saying. At some point, this is 5 DUIs now. I mean, you would be done here. I mean, the way, oh my God. Seriously, I do not know what kind of laws they have there, but it's not okay because she's a menace to the damn road. It's really not okay. You imagine if you live near her? Yes, I know. 5. That's just the ones in her state, apparently. Oh, and she didn't have registration. Right. It's oh my God. I know it's, she told this wild ass story. My God, she's just such a fibber. I don't really care about her story, but I. She should not have a vehicle. She should not have access to a vehicle. You're absolutely right. It was impounded, but she could go. She went and got it. I don't understand. Well, I'll put this on. We'll get going on this for then. See what this witness is. I know. You can't even make this shit up. I swear to God.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You may be seated. State may call its next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Douglas Small. Your Honor, can we have some headphones for this witness, please?
Oh, right here.
And just watch your step, Mr. Small.
They don't expand.
You need to be in front of the microphone. Mr. Small,
Yes.
can you hear?
Yes.
Okay. Please remain in front of the microphone.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Small, if you could stand and raise your right hand, I'm going to administer an oath. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Reasonably.
Okay. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide this jury will be the truth and the whole truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. You can have a seat and you can make yourself comfortable, sir. When you're ready, if you can start by stating and spelling your full name for the record.
My name is Douglas Small, DOUGLASSMALL.
And Mr. Small, forgive me for asking, but how old are you, sir?
85.
And what city and state do you currently reside in?
Carmel, Maine,
How long have you lived in Carmel, Maine?
all my life.
And sir, what do you currently do for a living?
Well, I'm semi-retired, but I have rental houses and I maintain those
And you maintain them. Do you do roofing on those houses
and siding, anything that needs to be done.
at 85?
That's right.
What
I
are other,
don't do it all myself.
okay. What are other positions that you've held in the past in terms of employment?
Boy, I had just about everything going. I learned at a young age, if you're going to live in the state of Maine, you've got to do just about everything, unless you have an education.
Do you own any properties in Carmel, Maine?
I do.
And can you describe those for the jurors, please?
They're just, they're all one family residential homes.
Do you own any large parcels of land?
Have two properties that encompass about 30 acres each.
Is there an old schoolhouse on one of those?
There is.
Is there an old outhouse on one of those properties?
It's the old outhouse that you speak of is in the old schoolhouse. It's a one-room school.
Your Honor, may I approach this witness? I'll speak into a mic.
Yes, you may.
Mr. Small, I'm going to ask, do you know someone named Kelsey Small?
She was my granddaughter.
Okay, and you say she was your granddaughter.
Correct.
Where is she now?
She's in an urn in the cemetery in Carmel, Maine.
Again, I'm sorry to ask this, sir, but when did she pass away?
In March of 22.
So, Mr. Small, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 65. I'm just going to ask if you recognize any of the individuals in this photograph.
It looks like Adam Montgomery in the rear, but I honestly couldn't state that to be a fact.
Okay. And if I can have this. Mr. Small, I'm showing you it's been
Good morning,
marked as State's
DC.
Exhibit 90. Do you recognize the individual depicted in this photograph?
I'd have to have it a little closer.
You can handle it.
Thank you. It certainly looks like Kelsey in the lower bottom.
Kelsey Small.
Kelsey Small.
I can take that back, sir. You mentioned Adam Montgomery. Are you familiar with Mr. Montgomery?
He stayed at my home for several weeks.
Your Honor, may I approach you?
Yes, you may.
So, Mr. Small, I'm showing you it's been marked as State's Exhibit 101. Do you recognize the individual depicted in this?
It looks like Adam.
Adam Montgomery? And you said that Mr. Montgomery stayed at your home?
That's correct.
How long did he stay at your home for, Mr. Small?
There were two periods, and I don't know the date that he arrived the first time, but I drove to Rochester to pick both he and Kelsey up, I believe, on the 11th of November. of
And-
21.
of 2021. And are you aware of Mr. Montgomery, the defendant in this case, staying with other family members of yours?
No, he was at my house both periods.
Do you recall him staying with your daughter, Bessie Small?
There was one night that perhaps, that's my daughter-in-law, but I'm not sure. I go to bed early. Whether he actually stayed overnight or not, I couldn't swear.
Mr. Small, did you ever loan the defendant one of your vehicles?
No,
And how about your granddaughter, Kelsey?
I let her have my Pontiac.
And specifically with respect to late 2021, did you lend Miss Small that Pontiac that you just mentioned
I told them they could have it to go to Manchester with. Yes,
to come to Manchester?
yes.
And you mentioned that it's a Pontiac, but can you describe it for the jurors, the make, model, if you're able to?
Yeah, it's an old one. It's an 06 Grand Prix.
Do you know the color?
I would call it gray.
Mr. Small, with respect to the properties that you own in Maine, are you aware of searches that were conducted on those properties?
There was one day when a group of detectives, or at least police people, came and went through the old schoolhouse.
Do you know what they were searching for?
At the time, I didn't.
Do you know now?
But I suspect that, no, I don't know. But
Hold on, sir. Hold on one moment, please. There's an objection. Hearsay. All right, if you have a speaking objection, please approach.
Mr. Small, do you recall how many detectives were present that day?
couldn't swear to them. 4, I believe.
And how long were they there searching
Oh, in the building itself?
the building and the property?
Yeah. I'd guess that a half hour.
Thank you, Mr. Small. No additional questions for you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Small. I do not have any questions.
Your Honor, I'd ask this.
Without objection.
All right, sir, you may be excused, so I'll ask you just remove your headphones, please. You can just leave them there. We'll take care of them.
Thank you.
Be careful of the wires.
Good morning, Beck. How's my boy? You guys will not believe how stinking cute that kid is. He was just chatting to us and smiling and so darn cute. I just want to kiss his little butt. I know, DC. He is. Yeah, I didn't know that. Poor thing. He doesn't want to stop talking to eat. Oh my God, cutest little thing.
Your Honor, this
Just
is
chatting away. So cute.
Trooper Brian Hernandez.
He put me to sleep too. I slept the whole way home and came home and took a nap. Oh my gosh.
Trooper Hernandez, if you would remain standing and just raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide this jury will be the truth?
Hey Gary, how's it going?
I do.
You can have a seat, make yourself comfortable.
Oh,
And when you're ready, if you can just start by stating and spelling your full name for the record.
So I'm Mass State Trooper Brian Hernandez. First name I spell Bryan. Last name I spell Hernandez.
Thank you, Trooper. Obviously, I've called you Trooper. Can you tell these jurors what you currently do for a living?
So I am employed with the Massachusetts State Police. I am currently a detective with the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office.
And sir, I'm just going to ask you to keep your voice up. It's a big room, and all the jurors need to be able to hear you.
Hold it, Your Honor.
Just imagine talking to the back of the room. Can you tell us how long you've been so employed?
So I've been employed with the Mass State Police since 2020. 2020, it's about going on 4 years now. Previously, I was a city cop for the city of Chelsea in Massachusetts. That was from 2014 to 2020.
Prior to 2014, any law enforcement experience?
Prior to 2014, no.
And as far as your current duties and assignments, can you tell the jurors about that?
Yes, I'm currently employed with the Suffolk State Police Detective Unit. We handle homicides. We do major felony crimes as well.
Do you assist in missing person cases?
Occasionally, yes.
Detective, if you can. So during the course of your career as a detective with the Mass State Police, did you become involved in the investigation into the disappearance and murder of Harmony Montgomery?
Yes.
And can you explain to these jurors just your role and participation generally in the case?
Yes, with this case, Manchester PD reached out to Mass State Police. They had areas of interest that they wanted to conduct searches. So they reached out to the Suffolk County District Attorney's office, which we handled as investigators. It was up to me to kind of coordinate with other Mass State Police units, including the Special Emergency Response Team, which is also known as the SIRT team, and other Mass State Police units as well.
Did you act as a liaison between the Mass State Police and the Manchester Police Department?
And Attorney Knowles, I'm going to ask you as well to please keep your voice up.
Thank you.
Yes.
If I can have just a moment, Your Honor. And Trooper, if you can just tell us, when did your involvement in this matter begin?
It began early September 2022.
During your involvement in this case, did you receive certain toll records related to this matter?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach this witness?
Yes, you may.
Trooper Hernandez, I'm showing you what's been marked as States Exhibits 100A through 100U. And I'm just going to ask that you look at each of those in turn and look up when you're done. Thank you, Trooper. Are you familiar with the items depicted in that?
Yes,
Sorry. Are they fair and accurate based on your memory of the records that you reviewed?
yes,
Your Honor, the state moves to strike what's been marked for identification as States 100A through U and marked as full and published to the jury.
Without objection.
All right, the ID is stricken. They are entered as of full exhibits and they may be published to the jury.
Thank you. And Your Honor, if we may approach briefly.
Yes?
Good morning, Adam. This is a Massachusetts State Trooper. If that's what you're asking. Earlier was the grandfather of Christy Small, the girlfriend that OD'd. Good morning, Becca. How's everything going? I saw your post.
Oh, wait, Attorney Smith.
Well, I bet it was. I'm glad she's home. So sorry for all that. That's so scary. My gosh. Poor thing.
Apologies, Trooper. Would using maps to discuss these locations that you searched, the toll information, would that assist these jurors in understanding the locations that you're describing?
Okay.
Do you believe that maps would assist?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
So Trooper Hernandez, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as States Exhibits 145 through 155. If you could just review each of those. Thank you, Trooper. The areas that you just reviewed, are you familiar with those areas?
Yes.
And is that through your capacity as a law enforcement officer with the Mass State Police?
Yes.
I can't
The
hear.
records that were just admitted through you, you're familiar with those as well?
Yes.
And again, the maps that you just reviewed, those would help the jurors in understanding the locations that we're going to discuss.
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to publish what's been marked for identification as States Exhibit 145 through 155.
So if you want to use those as demonstrative exhibits, you may do so. They're not marked as full exhibits, but they may
Thank
be
you.
shown.
So Trooper Hernandez, turning to the toll information, please look at the screen behind you. And if you can just confirm, other than the red sticker on the bottom of the exhibits that you just were handed, is that consistent with what's before you?
Yes.
And what is the image in the top right of that picture? What does it capture?
The license plate.
And can you please read the license plate number of that vehicle? And I'll make it large for you.
So it's Arizona registration AJ78147.
And I think you said this, but it's an Arizona registration.
Correct.
What are the dates and times associated with the violations?
The dates are March 4th, 2020. Times are 4 in the morning at 44 a.m. 4:44 a.m. And underneath that same date, March 4th, 2020, it's at 4:45 a.m. The one underneath that one is March 4th, 2020 at 5:25 a.m.
And what are the exit plazas associated with the toll violations?
Tobin Bridge.
And any specific directions associated with the tolls?
So Tobin Bridge local north, Tobin Bridge local south, Tobin Bridge local north.
So you've testified that the maps would assist jurors in understanding these specific locations. And I'm going to place a map on the screen behind you. If you could look at that for a moment, and that should be consistent with States Exhibit, what's marked as States Exhibit 145 for identification. Do you recognize the area depicted in this image?
Yes.
And if you could just describe what the jurors are seeing in this image.
So it's the Tobin Bridge. That's where would you like for me to point?
Yeah, if you don't mind, just, and you can get up if you need to, if you can point out the Tobin Bridge area.
Tobin Bridge is in this vicinity right here.
And for those unfamiliar, how would you describe the Tobin Bridge area?
Tobin Bridge is it has tolls, easy pass tolls where it documents when a vehicle goes by it. It's a high traveled highway bridge that leads into like the Boston area, into Chelsea.
And you said it leads into the Boston area and Chelsea?
Correct.
Would you say that the Tobin Bridge area is suspended over water, ground, both?
Over water.
Do you know around how long it is?
Not sure.
So let's look at the area associated with the tolls. And the zoomed in area. Can you describe what's depicted in this image?
That's where the Easy Pass readers are located. In this vicinity.
And that image is associated with which toll area?
Tobin Bridge.
All right.
Good morning,
How about
Legs.
this image?
Yeah, I know,
That's
DC.
part of the, Tobin Bridge
I
as
hear
well.
you.
Okay, and if you don't mind just pointing to
This area.
and the area that you just pointed to, is that a specific toll?
By the way, I think they do. I have heard
And
people
this
say
one.
they're freezing in there
Same with this.
in a lot of courtrooms.
This is a toll as well. Tobin Bridge area.
So, Trooper, I'd like to discuss specific searches that your unit conducted related to this case, the search for the body of Harmony Montgomery. Can you just discuss the Massachusetts Special Emergency Response Team, or CERT?
You want me to? Could you just repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Can you just discuss the CERT team, the CERT team for Massachusetts?
So
Massachusetts.
So the CERT team, which is the Special Emergency Response Team, they specialize in conducting searches for all sorts of reasons. They assisted in this. They were a major part in this. They normally go out with, they went out with us this time, and they were the ones that were tracking down locations where we were searching, essentially.
Specifically with the CERT team, do they search a particular area, water, land, air, all?
All.
So they have access to airplanes, helicopters.
Yes, some of the units that the CERT team uses are K9. They use Massachusetts Dive Team as well, the Mass State Police Air Wing Unit.
And can you please describe for the jurors just the searches that were conducted by the CERT team, again, looking for the body of Harmony Montgomery?
Would you like the locations?
And I'll actually put them up on the screen behind you. So if you can discuss, beginning with Route 101 near the Tobin Bridge, and that search location.
So the 107, Route 107, that was conducted from the area of Revere to the Saugus line. Both Revere is a city and town, and the Saugus as well. So that vicinity of 107 was conducted by the CERT team.
And can you just point that area out on the map behind you, please?
So this was
How about Broad Sound Tuna Club area?
that was conducted also by the CERT team, which is this vicinity right here. Dive team also assisted.
The dive team also assisted. How about canines? Were they present for that?
Not sure if K9 was present that day.
Are you familiar with this search of the Sales Creek area?
Yes,
To the search for the body of Harmony Montgomery?
correct.
And can you point that out on the map as well? Bridge Pizzeria area? Are you familiar with a search conducted by the CERT team, again, related to this case?
Yes, that was done in Revere, the city of Revere.
And you said specifically in Revere?
Correct.
How about the marsh on the, well, there it is on the map.
Mhm.
Are you familiar with this search?
Yes.
And can you just describe it to the jurors, please?
So the march area that was searched was this vicinity right here, along with also this vicinity here. It's a large area.
And what went into that search?
It was split up in multiple days, in 2 days. With that, it was a lot of law enforcement personnel from Manchester PD, also detectives from other counties because it went into the Essex County, which is Saugus. The CERT team as well, along with K9.
And so in your role, your involvement in this case, how do you set up a search like this?
So it's pretty much wherever the PD is interested in searching. At this point, it was Manchester PD had locations of interest. Based off of that, I relayed that information over to the commander for the CERT team, which is Lieutenant Kevin O'Hara. He's the one that got the additional units to kind of assist with it.
And I think you said this already, but there were multiple agencies present for these searches. Is that right?
Correct.
State and federal.
Correct.
The searches that you participated in, how long did those last typically?
So the marsh area was a very big area. The Rumney Marsh Reservation, it lasted about 8 hours each day.
Yeah, the fact that she's driving around today
About 8 hours.
is absolutely
Yes.
How
ridiculous.
many individuals
Completely
participated,
ridiculous.
roughly?
Easily over 30 law enforcement.
Detective Hernandez, I want to turn your attention to a specific search in this case. That's the area of Rumney Marsh in Revere. Are you familiar with the search of that location?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors about the search of that specific location?
Yeah, Rumney Marsh is wetland. There's a lot of grass, tall grass there. And that was done, like I said, that was done on 2 days. We split them up in 2 days. One of the days was on September 18th, 2022. My apologies. And the following search was conducted in April 7th, 2023.
Okay, so 2 specific days, September 18th, 22, and April 7th of 23. And can you point the specific locations out for each of the searches on the map?
Yes. So one of the areas was this vicinity right here, close to Copeland Circle and Revere. Another one was right in this vicinity right here, which would be right behind the Northgate Plaza in Revere as well. And this area right here was conducted as well, which that was, goes into the town of Saugus.
And Trooper Hernandez, can you just describe the towns that are bordering that area, that are surrounding the areas of those searches?
The areas, so it's the city of Revere, was one of the areas where it's conducted the searches, and also the town of Saugus.
You mentioned the Tobin letting out or leading to Chelsea.
Yes.
How far is Chelsea from the Revere area?
Chelsea is about 10 minutes away from Revere. 10, 15 minutes away from Revere.
During any of these searches, was the body of Army Montgomery located?
No.
Thank you, Trooper Hernandez. No additional questions for you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning. I have no questions, Trooper.
Go on, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, I'd ask that this witness be excused.
Any objection?
No objection, Judge.
All right, sir, you may step down. You are excused.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if we could approach on the next witness, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Of course. She got a DUI. She got battery charges and obstruction of justice. She didn't do any of it. She did it. And she wasn't drunk. You know, of course, she was on the phone with mom. Whoever that person is, that's as stupid as shit always. Just ridiculous the way she carries on with her damn lies. Yep, great big old story, DC. Yep. She didn't do any of those things. They said that she refused the breathalyzer. She said she did not. She got proof of all this. The battery is, she says, because she was yelling at the cop. That it was her mouth. And that obstruction of justice
Gentlemen,
was she was.
it looks like we're going to have to take a short recess. We will bring you in as soon as we can. Don't discuss the case with each other or with anybody else. Don't do any independent research. Don't look up any locations on the maps. And as I say, we will bring you back as soon as we can. Thank you.
So yeah, she did. Oh, hello, Mama Cannoli. Oh God, DC, yeah, I just put it on. How funny. Yeah, she says her obstruction of justice was she was filming him because she didn't get a good feeling about him. And what all kinds of crap. Some woman that's there doesn't like her. That person made her said she refused, but she didn't refuse. You know, so she did none of the things she's charged with. Right. Then she says she told them she needed a ride to her to get her car out of impound. And they told her no, that was, you know, they're not a taxi service. So she walked and walked, and then some lady stopped and gave her a ride. Says she bailed herself out $2,500 and then whatever for the impound. Who knows? You can't, who knows what really happened, because, you know, whatever really happened, it was a, you know, she's not going to say that for sure. This should be, you know what, we got to be seeing this witness, right? The one that just came to fruition last week. Still no defendant. I'm excited for this witness, so.
Leaving the door open is the worst mistake any employee can make because
Come on, what the hell?
More toxic or deadly than a human child. A single plant could kill you. Leave a door open and a child will walk right into this factory, right into the monster world. Oh no, I can't run. You can't get in there because we need this.
Oh, I think this is the one.
All
Woohoo!
rise for the jurors, please.
I'm excited. Yeah, I think so too, Legs. They're saying it's quicker than they had planned. Hey, Mama. Oh, love you too. Glad to see you here. This is the one. I'm excited. Half the time I can't understand what they even wanted the witness to tell us. Their relevance, but oh my God, today is the 20th. Yes, we've got Ruby, Franke, and also Velardes are back in court today. Oh my God, thanks for the reminder, DC. Yeah, I gotta go catch that too. We gotta,
Please be seated. State may call its next
wow,
witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this
that's
time,
right.
proceed to call
Sentencing
Mr.
today
Rebecca
for,
Maines to the stand, please.
oh man. I think today maybe we'll find out why the Velardes got arrested, what their evidence is on them. Oh, wait, this woman is in jail? I don't know.
Good
Oh
morning,
my
Ms. Maines.
God.
If you would go right over to where the bailiff is, please, and watch your step on the cords.
I bet legs. Holy hell, that's terrifying.
Be careful of the cords, please.
And Ms. Maines, if you would remain standing and please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Please feel free to have a seat. There's
Okay,
water
I'm
there
gonna
if you'd
go
like
look
it
it
at any
up.
point in time, okay? Ms. Maines, because we're being recorded here today, would you please
And I'll
state
go
your
stand
full
with
name
them.
and spell both your first name and your last name for the record?
Yeah, my name is Rebecca, Rebecca, and my last name is Maines, Maines.
And Ms. Maines, you reside in New Hampshire, correct?
I do.
How long have you been a New Hampshire resident?
49 years.
49 years. Currently, it's my understanding that you're staying at the New Hampshire State Prison for Women. Is that correct?
I am back on a parole violation, yes.
Okay. And what is your anticipated release date?
April 15th.
And just to get this out of the way, with regards to previous convictions that you've had, it's my understanding you've had convictions for a series of theft by unauthorized takings and a one count of credit card fraud, all between 2016 and 2019. Is that correct?
That is correct.
During that time period between 2016 and 2019, what were you battling with?
I'm a heroin addict.
And how long have you been in recovery?
10 months today.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
With regards to your work history prior to using heroin, what sort of jobs did you hold?
I was in the medical field.
And what did you do in the medical field?
I was a nurse.
Do you know a person by the name of Adam Montgomery?
I do.
Okay. Where did you first meet Adam Montgomery?
I met him in Manchester in 2022. We were both part of the sober community.
Sober community?
Correct.
Approach the witness, please.
You may.
I'm going to show you what's Memorial States Exhibit 101. I see that you're nodding your head. Do you
It's
recognize
Adam.
this person?
It's Adam.
That's Adam Montgomery.
It is.
And that did you meet him back in 2021?
21. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
How would you describe your relationship? How much did you spend time together?
Every day.
Every day.
I would have called him my best friend.
Did you have a car at that time?
I did.
And what kind of car was it?
It was a 2017 Ford Fusion.
And do you know whether the defendant had a car at that time?
He did not.
You said that you were best friends. Would you ever travel together?
We did.
Okay. And what town did you grow up in?
Portsmouth.
Did you ever take him to Portsmouth?
No, Hampton
Hampton.
was the furthest.
Okay. And what town did he grow up in?
I want to say Lynn, Massachusetts. I know it's down. It's Revere. I believe it's Revere. I know it's down in that area.
Okay. Did you ever talk with him about his children, how many children he has?
Yes.
Okay. What, if anything, did he ever tell you about how many children he had?
Well, I'm pretty sure I told you guys 5, but thinking about it, I know he had 4.
You know he had 4?
Correct.
And when you say you guys, are you referring to
When I
investigators?
spoke with the state, yes.
Okay.
with
And-
you and
I'm about to say, this is not the first time you and I've met, is it?
no, it is not.
Okay. And where did we meet?
At the New Hampshire State Prison for Women.
And what did we talk about that day?
We talked about my statement.
Okay. And do you remember what you were told to do when you were testifying?
Yes.
Okay. What were the 3 rules of testifying that we talked about?
Speak loud,
Mhm.
tell the truth. And I don't remember.
Okay.
Stare at you guys.
Let's say, does it sound like one of the other things was to make sure you use your own words in whatever your
Oh,
testimony
absolutely,
is?
yes. Sorry.
All right. It's all right. At the time in 2021, did you ever talk with Adam Montgomery about a daughter named Harmony?
I did.
Where did he say she was living in 2021 when you talked with him?
He told me that he dropped her off to her mother in 2019 at a rest area.
What did he say about how often he was seeing her back in 2021?
He said her mother would not allow him to see her and that he had been trying for some time.
What, if anything, did he say to you about her having any sort of toilet problems or bathroom issues before she went to live with her mother?
He said she was constantly wetting her pants or using the bathroom. He put her in the corner in her soiled pants. But that she would repeat it when she'd get in the car. She'd have an accident, but he said it was on purpose.
On purpose.
Yes,
That's what he said.
correct.
What did he say about why he decided to send Harmony back to her mother?
Because she continually shit her pants. Sorry.
That's okay. Are those his words?
Yes.
Okay. Then those are his words. Remember, one of the things is to make sure that you always tell the truth, correct? You just took an oath a moment ago to tell the truth.
Absolutely.
With regards, again, to his words, did he ever tell you about a physical incident between himself and Harmony?
He did.
What did he say in his words that you recall?
So he told me that he was in the bathroom, or the kids were in the bathroom. I don't remember the but he was in the bathroom and he had walked out to find Harmony with her hands over the baby's mouth and nose, and that the baby was not breathing and turning blue. And he said he saw red and he just backhanded her.
So he told you that he backhanded her.
Correct.
And when she was holding her hand over, you said the baby's mouth, did he tell you which baby, which of his other children?
You know what he did, but I don't remember. I want to say Declan, but I'm not 100% positive.
Don't want you to guess. So if you remember, you remember. And if you don't, you don't. That's okay. Do you remember the name of the child that he was talking about, the baby?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Declan.
Okay. And did he say where he was living when he hit Harmony in the mouth after seeing her cover this child's mouth?
Probably. I don't recall.
You don't recall. Okay. Did you say when it was? Specifically, when in the year? Spring, summer,
No,
fall,
it was right
winter?
before he returned Harmony to her mother.
Right before?
I'm watching the Ruby Franke coverage also. As soon as that comes on, I'll break in and
Did he? Let
Take
me
us
ask you,
over
did
there.
you ever give him a ride to Maine?
I did not give him a ride.
Okay, so you did not give him a ride to Maine.
No.
All right. Do you know what state he was living in at the end of 2021?
Yes, he was in Maine.
Do you know who he was living
He
with?
was living with Kelsey.
Did you ever meet Kelsey?
She again is one of my really good friends.
And what was Kelsey's last name?
Small.
Finally, with regards to what the defendant stated to you about Harmony, what, if anything, did he ever say, or I'm sorry, who, if anyone, did he ever say Harmony reminded him of?
Her mother.
Her mother?
Her mother.
And did he tell you how that made him feel? God bless you.
He said he hated her right to his core.
This means I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this clearly. So your testimony is Adam Montgomery told you that he hated his daughter. Did he say why?
She reminded him of her mother.
So not that so your testimony isn't that he hated her mother, it's that he hated Harmony
Correct.
because she reminded him of
Her mother.
his mother. And at that point, I have no further questions for Ms. Bates. I thank you very much for your time. I believe defense counsel will have a few.
Good morning, Ms. Maines.
Good morning.
I believe we met briefly just a few minutes ago, but again, I'm Jamie Brooks, and I represent Mr. Montgomery. I'm also going to be asking you some questions.
Okay.
And I want to begin by asking you about your criminal record, specifically your convictions between 2014 and 2019.
Okay.
You have 11 separate felony convictions.
Probably. I was a drug addict.
And along with that 11, you have 7 separate misdemeanor convictions, right, for
Probably.
credit card fraud.
Probably.
Specifically, just to dive into the details a bit, 2014 theft, Rockingham County, correct?
Correct. I'm going to agree with you on all these charges. I don't know that we need to go through all of them.
2016 theft,
I'm a criminal, sir. Yes.
Rockingham County.
Yeah.
2016 theft by deception, Rockingham County.
If you say so. I am a criminal.
2016 3 separate convictions for felony level theft out of Merrimack County.
If you say so. I don't have the documentation in front of me. I don't need it either. I am a criminal. I don't have a problem telling you that.
2017 theft,
Mm-hmm.
Merrimack, right?
Yeah.
2018 another theft felony level out of Merrimack.
Yep.
2018 a theft out of Merrimack.
I believe it was all the same incident, correct?
Would you like to see the charges
No.
with different docket numbers?
No. I'm telling you I'm a criminal. I don't know why that would make a difference.
And you also have 2 theft convictions out of Rockingham County in 2019.
Correct.
You indicated on direct examination that you were with Adam for A couple of months,
Yes,
beginning around August of 2019,
correct.
or my apologies, August of 2021.
2021, I'm sorry, yes.
And you and Adam were together essentially every day.
Right up until I moved back to the seacoast.
You considered him a best friend.
I would have, yes.
He ended up moving to Maine to be with Kelsey Small, correct?
Well, he ended up going there, yes.
You were the one who introduced Adam and Kelsey in the first place.
I was.
I want to talk with you a bit about your current legal situation. You indicated that you are eligible to be released on parole in April,
Correct.
in a couple of months.
Hmm.
But it's also fair to say that that is not the extent of your legal troubles, correct?
Correct.
You are presently facing 3.
It looks like she's been brought into court. They're in the court right now. Do you guys want to switch over there and then come back here?
Hello? Anyone? There's a door here.
They were outside, and now they're actually inside the courtroom. So, okay. Oh, Katie Rady. All righty, dighty.
Not going to make a statement because he's concerned that he could potentially face some criminal law liability should he say something wrong?
Do I have this all wrong? Seriously?
I think that's an interesting point that you make. I have been in contact with his attorney for months now, really since this happened, and they have stayed kind of tight-lipped. The information that I have gotten, though, is that he wants to
Okay, that's a beautiful laudatory statement, but
be shortened or other conditions imposed.
Right,
That's closer to Salt Lake City. Now, ahead of all of this, she won't have custody of them anymore. So I think it's really up to the
Okay.
children and their father whether they will act.
All right, I'm sorry. They were just playing a clip of her in the courtroom. Wow. I just keep going back and forth. I'm sorry. They're just trying to use up the time because waiting for it. I'm sorry. I will go back over whenever I can, whenever it looks like it. Sorry about all that. Very sorry.
Three sets of charges out of 3 separate counties, correct?
Actually, it's 4.
There's a 4th?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with Merrimack County.
None of these I've been convicted of, so they're none I would talk about.
These
I think
are,
I have the legal right to that.
I'm not going to ask you about the specifics, but I am going to ask you about the fact that you are in fact presently being charged with.
I'm not facing any more time, sir. I'm not doing any more time.
Well, let's talk about that. You're facing a Class B felony offense out of Merrimack County, correct?
I don't know if it's for possession of crack cocaine. I believe it's going to be a misdemeanor.
You have 2 counts of possession
I
out
do.
of Merrimack County, correct?
Do I? No, I don't believe so.
Are you familiar with a document called a case summary?
Yes.
Would looking at that case summary assist you in knowing what you're charged with?
Yeah. I actually.
Permission to approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
I'm now handing what is a case summary for your current pending Merrimack County Superior Court case.
Okay.
Having reviewed that, does that help refresh your recollection?
No, I was only aware of one.
But you are in fact facing 2.
Apparently you say so, yes.
And those are 2, I'll be happy to take that back with you, unless you need to look at it.
No, I don't need it. I don't have a problem telling you that.
So in Merrimack County
Okay.
alone, you are still presently facing 2 charges carrying a maximum penalty of 3.5 to 7 years in prison.
Yes.
And there is a second court, correct?
Yes.
And that's Rockingham County Superior Court.
Yes.
And out of Rockingham County Superior Court, you're facing an A felony offense.
I am.
That carries a maximum penalty itself of 7.5 to 15 years.
Yes.
You also have a charge right here out of this very court, correct?
I do.
Itself a Class B felony.
hmm
Itself punishable by up to 3.5 to 7 years.
It is.
And you indicated that there's a 4th?
I'm correct. Out of Bedford, I have possession of crack cocaine.
When did that charge come about?
I was arrested on August 12th of 2022.
That would also be a felony level offense?
It is a misdemeanor.
Okay.
Acts prohibited, I believe, or no, it's
And even though you're scheduled for release in April on the sentence you're presently serving, those charges are all still pending.
they are still pending, yes.
And there is an additional problem as well, right? In each of those 3 cases, you failed to appear for court.
I did. And that's not a problem at all. I was in treatment, sir.
You were on the lam.
I was in treatment, sir.
Absconded from your parole?
I was in, I mean, I was in treatment, sir.
Yet your parole did not know you were in treatment and a warrant was issued?
I believe I've answered that question. And they did know where I was. But thank you.
And you would agree that failing to appear for court is itself also potentially a crime?
It is a crime, yes.
Bail jumping?
I was not charged with bail jumping, sir.
You haven't been charged with bail jumping yet since being arrested.
I was in treatment, sir, and I'm pretty sure that I verified that through the courts, and each of them know.
I want to change topics.
My criminal record.
Adam fought for 4 years to get Harmony.
Adam fought for 4 years? I mean, if you say so.
You don't recall telling the police that?
I didn't tell the police he fought for 4 years.
Let's talk about, you indicated something about standing in a corner.
I did.
She would stand in a corner and poop. Is that something that you said?
I said that she used the bathroom in her pants and he put her in the corner.
Okay. So we're not talking about the car.
No, I'm not. I didn't say anything about the car.
Okay. So this is something that would occur when they were living in a home or an apartment or something.
Correct.
So, Ms. Maines, on direct examination, it was elicited that you have met with the state before, correct?
I did, yes.
And one of those times that you met with the state was when you were in prison.
Yes,
And that was January 4th of 2023.
probably.
But it was another time that you were incarcerated. You since got out
Yes,
during some point of 2023, and now you're back.
correct.
Okay. You recall being interviewed by a Detective Dunleavy,
I was, yes.
and you were wanting to get out of your situation, correct?
No,
You were in prison.
so
You
I
wanted to
was not
stay
there
in
on
prison?
parole. Nothing you can do can help me with parole, sir.
Do you recall telling
Good morning,
Detective
Queenie.
Dunleavy
Tragic.
that you wanted to have
Colin,
a
Miranda.
recorded telephone conversation
guys.
with Mr. Montgomery?
No, that I wanted to have a recorded conversation? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. You never told Detective Dunleavy that.
No, I actually told him I wanted to see him in person.
Well, you did say that too. You wanted to go and visit Adam at Valley Street Jail, right?
I have been in contact with him while he has been incarcerated, sir.
At the time, Adam was at Valley Street Jail when you were at the Women's State Prison in January of 2023.
Correct.
And you told Detective Dunleavy, I would like to go and visit him at Valley Street.
I did. Adam was a really good friend of mine.
But you also told him
How many
that
people
you
think
couldn't do it
that
by yourself,
he
right?
was friends with people who weren't criminals?
I will never see Adam again because I'm a criminal, sir, which means
You
I
told-
can't get into the jails or the prisons.
You told Detective Dunleavy that you would like to go and visit Adam at the prison, but you needed their help to do so, right?
No. I needed
You
their
needed-
help? Absolutely not.
Being incarcerated, you would agree that you would not be able to get to Valley Street on your own, right?
I'm sorry if
You
I'm
would have to
being
be
anyone to.
released
I'm
with the
trying
assistance
to
of the police.
No, absolutely.
keep my eye
was
on the
on
Jody
parole, sir.
uh,
You don't get to be released
and the
just
Ruby
because the
Franke
police said so.
case, so we
You
can
told the police that you had
go straight over
nothing to
there as soon
lose.
as that sentencing gets underway.
I want to see that because I'd never said that.
While we're on the topic, at the very end of the conversation,
Yeah, and what
with
difference does it make
Detective
if she said it
Dunleavy,
anyway?
Detective Dunleavy asked,
Wow.
is there any, do you have anything else for us? And your response was, I can tell you all about drugs, right?
No, absolutely not.
No doubt in your mind?
I was there for one reason, sir.
Fair to say that you wanted
Actually,
to
I was there
improve
for
your
two
legal
reasons.
situation.
The second reason was a personal reason, but we never spoke. The drug issue was on a personal reason, but it had nothing to do with Adam, and it had nothing to do with, it had to do with a sexual assault.
It had nothing
Sorry.
to do with Adam, but it still had something to do with possibly improving your legal situation.
It did not. Nothing will improve my legal situation but myself.
I have nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
I could please, just to briefly clarify this. With regards to your testimony here today, do you have any promises with the state about what's going to happen to your other charges based upon how you testified today?
Not at all.
Have you ever asked for any promises from the state in exchange for your testimony here today?
I have not.
You stated a moment ago on cross-examination that you said, I'm never going to be able to see him again. Can you please explain to the jury why, as somebody who's on parole or as a convicted felon, you're not going to be able to speak with him again? With somebody like him.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I could never go to Valley Street because I've been to Valley Street. I did some time there, and you are not allowed to go to a jail that you have been to. Secondly, the
More
person
likable
has to
than
be
damn near anybody I've
10
seen
years of
on this screen.
no arrests, no
Yeah.
convictions,
I'm there.
10 years when you've been outside the prison. And at this time, I definitely can't say that I've done that.
Let me ask you also, you were asked about meeting with the state, and then you were asked about a meeting in January 4th of 2023. On your meeting recently with the state, on that meeting, did you meet with myself and Attorney Knowles?
I did.
Okay. And was that recent, just before this trial began?
It was, I think, 2, maybe 3 Fridays ago.
Maybe 3 Fridays ago. So we put it in January of 2024. Is that right?
That is right.
And yet you were also asked about meeting with Detective Dunleavy. What year did that meeting take place?
Well, that was in 2022. And actually, I didn't even know he was coming. I was scheduled to meet with Manchester PD's sexual assault.
So that is a different matter, a different time, and a different meeting.
Correct.
So when counsel,
So this is not the new surprise
prior to
witness.
trial, these are two different
Ah,
meetings with two different
that's
groups
still
of
gonna
people, and two
happen.
different agencies, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Finally, with regards to the criminal record that defense counsel went through, was the defendant aware of your criminal record?
Absolutely.
And you were still friends with him, right?
I was still friends with him. I actually have not been charged with any new charges in quite some time for myself. I've been clean and sober and working on myself, which is what I plan to do when I get out. The same exact thing.
Understandable. With regards to also when you were asked about the defendant talking about this pooping incident, that Harmony would do this on purpose. I just want to clarify with regards to the timing. You were asked a moment ago whether that happened while Adam was in a car. Did
We
the
were on our
defendant?
way back from Medway, Massachusetts.
So that's what you meant by in the car.
Correct.
Not that the incident occurred in the car.
Correct.
And correct me with regards to your testimony on direct. Didn't you say on direct that it was after these incidents and this backhand incident, that's when he decided to bring her back to her mother?
It was the I was told in the time of Thanksgiving 2019.
Thanksgiving 2019.
Correct.
Okay.
He put her in the car and met her mother,
And who was it that told you that?
Adam Montgomery.
Good morning, Gabi. Okay, it looks
No
like
further
we actually
questions at
are
this time,
getting
Your
ready
Honor.
to
Thank you,
do
Ms.
the sentencing. I hope I don't screw this up again. It looks like we're there, though. Good to see you, Gabi. So we're going to watch this sentencing, and then we'll go back. So far, it looks like everybody thinks that Jody Hildebrand will get more time than Michelle Sabate.
Good morning, ladies Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to District Court. We're here for sentencing in the matter of State of Utah versus Ruby Franke. Ms. Franke is here with Mr. Windward. Mr. Clark and Mr. Sham are here for the State of Utah, and we are ready to proceed with sentencing.
We are. Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, the terms of the sentence were agreed to as part of the plea agreement, correct?
That is correct.
There is a pre-sentence investigation report in the matter. I have reviewed that. Everyone has seen it.
Yes.
What about restitution, counsel, before we move on with other matters?
We'd like to leave that open at this time, Your Honor.
Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Lena.
I can get into that. I might be more comfortable if we approach to get into that.
Is there an agreement that restitution, that we reserve that and for what period of time?
8 months is what we're anticipating, but I haven't talked to the defendant's counsel about that.
We haven't discussed that, Your Honor.
Is there any objection?
No.
All right. What's the state's position regarding sentencing?
Your Honor, the state, I'll stand up. The state respectfully requests that the court sentence Ms. Franke to consecutive prison terms for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. The sentence was agreed to by Ms. Franke in her plea agreement and is also recommended by adult probation and parole. She committed horrible acts of child abuse. From May to August in 2023, Ms. Franke and her business partner held her 2 children, ages 9 and 11, turning 12, in a concentration camp-like setting. The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and virtually all forms of entertainment. They were isolated from others and were hidden when people came to visit the house where the children and the defendants were staying. The children were forced to do physical tasks like carrying loaded boxes up and down stairs and wall sits or sitting against a wall without a chair or a stool for hours at a time. They were also forced to do manual labor outdoors in the extreme summer heat, at times without shoes or socks. They were forced to stand outside on a cement patio in the summer heat for hours and even days at a time. They were beaten, and the 12-year-old was regularly bound hand and foot after he attempted to run away in mid-July. Both children had extensive physical injuries from the abuse that required hospitalization when they were found. The injuries from the binding to the 12-year-old are particularly awful. In addition to physical abuse, the children were emotionally abused to the extent that each believed, to some degree, that they deserved what was being done to them. Had the older of the children not had the courage to run away and ask a neighbor to call the police, heaven only knows how much longer he could have survived in that situation. After being caught, Ms. Franke has shown considerable remorse, as evidenced by agreeing to serve consecutive prison terms and being willing to cooperate with the state against Ms. Hildebrandt. However, given the severity of the abuse she inflicted, consecutive terms are appropriate in this case. As the court's aware, Section 76-3401 lays out factors the court takes into account in determining whether consecutive or concurrent sentences should be imposed. Those factors are the gravity and circumstances of the offense, the number of victims, and the history, character, and rehabilitative needs of the defendant. As agreed to in the plea agreement and as recommended by adult probation and parole, consecutive sentences are appropriate. This is due to the severity of the abuse to both victims. It could be argued that Ms. Franke should receive a lesser sentence than Ms. Hildebrandt because of her remorse and willingness to cooperate with the state. However, the Board of Pardons and Parole will have broad latitude and will be able to take those facts into account.
There, you just can't see her behind
each of the co-defendants will remain
her
incarcerated.
attorney.
In conclusion, we respectfully request that the court
Yes.
really
greasy
agreed to
hair.
the plea agreement and is recommended by adult probation and parole and impose consecutive sentences. Thank you. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Windward?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. I have a few comments this morning, and the comments my client wishes to make in a few minutes. We are not suggesting, nor are we asking that the court deviate from the stipulated sentence contained in the written plea agreement. I want the court to know that through introspection and reflection, Ruby Franke has become a serious student of her own actions. In the very early days of my involvement with Ruby, she was somewhat defensive, and she was still very much indoctrinated into a philosophy that was destructive. Fortunately, Ruby came to the stark realization of the errors in her thinking patterns and subsequent actions. To say that she was horrified by this realization would be to put it mildly. I have marveled at how quickly Ruby abandoned her defensive stance and moved toward her total acceptance of her actions and to her sentence today. So far, she has used her time in jail to unwrap the layers upon layers of deceit and deception foisted upon her over the last 4 years by an unscrupulous individual. Ruby realizes that she still has work to do in shedding those thinking errors and to reestablish a better and correct pattern of thinking and behavior. Ruby realizes that changing her thinking, reestablishing relationships, and healing are not simple or easy tasks. However, she is committed to doing that work. I would like the court to know that Ruby Franke is a delightful, respectful, and responsible person. She is open to feedback and addressing the consequences of her actions head on, and now ready to address your honor and accept your judgment. Thank you, Judge Walton.
Thank you. Ms. Franke has a statement she'd like to make.
She does.
Judge Wall.
You don't have to bend down.
Okay, thank you. I would like to make a statement without any intent to change my stipulated sentence. For the past 4 years, I've chosen to follow counsel and guidance that has led me into a dark delusion. My distorted version of reality went largely unchecked as I would isolate from anyone who challenged me. I was led to believe that this world was an evil place, filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect, and children who need abused. My choice to believe and behave this paranoia culminated into criminal activity for which I stand before you today ready to take accountability. Jody Hildebrandt was never my business partner, nor was I ever employed by her. I have never received wages from her or connections. Jody was employed as my son's counselor in 2019, and in 2020 I paid her to be my mentor. It is important to me to demonstrate my remorse and regret without blame. I take full accountability for my choices, and it is my preference that I'll serve a prison sentence. Thank you to the officers in Santa Clara and the Ivan City Police, Nick Hellman, Brian Palufo, Cy Pickuvit, Mike Pandoyo in Tobler, John Ward, Dee Lewis, and Chief Flowers. You were the angels who came and saved my children. I especially want to thank Detective Jay Bate. She plucked me out of a situation I didn't know how to get out of. And the moment she handcuffed me was the moment I gained my freedom. You were not the controlling ones. I was. Thank you to the medical staff at Intermountain Hospital. Your skill, tenderness, and professionalism helped heal my children. Jody and I inflicted the injuries, not the hospital. Thank you to DCFS, the Children's Justice Center, Judge Basil, and other key adults. You've gathered my children under your wing and offered them love, compassion, encouragement. You were not the ones who were doing the brainwashing. Thank you to my Bishop Tom Hawks and my state president, Jim Nelson, for reminding me of the Lord's love for the lost. So much pain and suffering would have been avoided had I followed and heeded your counsel. I was the one who was deceived, not you. Thank you to the Washington County Prosecutor's Office, Ryan Sham, the legal assistants and discovery clerks. Eric Clark, you exemplified to me how justice and mercy are meant to coexist. My charges are just. They offer safety to my family, accountability to the public, and they did show mercy to me. Thank you to my attorney, Lamar Winward, and his staff. I would not be where I am today without them. Thank you to Randy Kester for your limitless energy in healing my family. My dear friends, Pam and Roy, I'm so sorry for letting you down. Because of your association with me, your innocence was called into question. My mother-in-law, father-in-law, Kevin's family, my cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and neighbors, you all saw the warning signs long before I did, and you did what you could. You wanted to help, but I pushed you away. My mother and father, I have been utterly wretched to you. You have offered me unconditional love, and for that I have offered you unconditional contempt. My siblings and their spouses, because of my decision to roll around in a pigsty, I have dragged your families through the mud in public. Yet, when I desired to return as a prodigal sister, unlike the prodigal's brother in the Bible, you synced step with my parents and ran out to greet me. Your capacity to love is unprecedented. Kevin, my husband of more than 23 years, you are the love of my life. I'm so sorry to leave to you to finish what we both started together. The ending of our marriage is a tragedy. It was all wrapped around my heart. And now I'll never be able to undo. To my babies, my 6 little chicks, you were part of me. I was the mama duck who was consistently watering you to safety. I can see now, over the past 4 years, I was in a deep undercurrent that led us to danger. I remember launching into darkness knowingly. I was so disoriented that I believed dark was light and light was wrong. I would do anything in this world for you. My willingness to sacrifice all for you was masterfully manipulated into something very ugly. I took from you all that was soft and safe and good. I took from you your mother. How terrifying this must have been for you. And I'm still crying. You're hurting your tender souls. You're so precious to me. I'm sorry. My choice to live in fear of the world has created a great vulnerability and a blind spot for me, where I have broken hearts and I've caused people to suffer and I have betrayed sacred trust. Watching my community respond to my charges with justice and mercy and grace and love is all the evidence to me how wrong I've been. This world is full of really good people. And finally, I'm sorry for twisting God's word and distorting his doctrines. My greatest desire is to stand in his court someday spotless and confident. And Judge Walton, I know that standing before you today is a necessary step towards that end. Thank you to you and your staff for facilitating my opportunity to take accountability and to answer for my charges. I am humbled and willing to serve a prison sentence as long as it takes to continue unraveling all of the misinformation I have believed and thought swallowed and acted out, and for my family to heal and for the community to heal. And I understand this is going to take time. I'm committed to continuing my learning until all of my toxic layers are shed, and I am ready to re-enter as a contributing member of our beautiful society. Thank you, Judge Bolton.
Thank you for your statement, Ms. Franke. Anything else, Mr. Windward?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else prior to the court imposing sentence?
No, Your Honor.
The sentence will be that Ms. Franke serve 4 counts, 1 to 15-year sentences based on her convictions for 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. Again, they will be served consecutively pursuant to the parties' agreement and the applicable statute. Under the applicable statute, the court finds that consecutive sentences are appropriate. Ms. Franke, the last thing I do need to tell you is that you have only 30 days to file or to perfect an appeal of any errors of the court by filing a written notice of appeal with the clerk of the court. If you don't do that within 30 days, you will lose your right to appeal. You also have the right to the assistance of an attorney on appeal and to have one appointed if you cannot afford to hire your own. Restitution, as agreed by the parties, will remain open for a period of 8 months. Any of the parties can bring that matter back before the court within that period of time. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next matter before the court is State of Utah versus Hildebrandt, case 231501763. Mr. Terry is here representing Ms.
I don't know if I understand. So she basically got 4 years.
Mr. Shum and Mr. Clark are here representing the state.
1 to 15 for each. No? I don't understand what that meant. It said 1 to 15.
Your Honor, we anticipated 10:30. I'm not saying that we need to wait till then, but can I have a moment, please?
Approach. Court is back in session.
Does anybody understand that?
Court recalls the matter of State of Utah versus Hildebrandt.
Okay.
Case 231501763. Counsel are present. Ms. Hildebrandt is present.
Okay.
Counsel, there is a pre-sentence investigation report. I have read it. Everyone has seen and reviewed that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
So she could be up for parole in 2 years.
Sentence was stipulated at the time of the plea agreement. What record do we need to make other than going forward with sentencing?
I don't know. They didn't speak, Gaudi. I didn't see any.
Your Honor, it would be repetitive. I had the same statement just with the last few paragraphs where I was differentiating between Ms. Franke and Ms. Hildebrandt.
Okay, let's talk about housekeeping matters first. What about restitution?
We've stipulated to keep that open for 8 months.
It is appropriate, Your Honor, since we don't have any evidence with respect to restitution, and that's because it is still in the process of being gathered by the county attorney's office. It's completely appropriate for the court to make no orders with respect to restitution other than to reserve all issues regarding restitution, and we have no issue with the eight-month time frame.
And the injunction that was previously issued by the court will remain in effect?
It will.
At least until that time?
It will remain in effect until further order of this court.
All right. Mr. Clark?
Thanks, Your Honor. The state of Utah respectfully requests that the court sentence Ms. Hildebrandt to consecutive prison terms for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse to which she has pleaded guilty. The sentence was agreed to her in her plea agreement and is also recommended by adult probation and parole. Ms. Hildebrandt committed awful acts of child abuse. From May to August 2023, she and her business partner held 2 children, ages 9 and 11, turning 12, in a concentration camp-like setting in her house in Ivan City. The children were regularly denied food, water,
I think
beds
4
to
to
sleep
60,
in,
depending
and
on
virtually all forms of entertainment.
behavior.
They were
And
isolated from others and were hidden when people came to visit
I
the
think,
house. They were forced to do physical tasks like carrying rope
and she
boxes
can
up and
just
down
keep
stairs,
going up for
entering
parole,
wall
and
sits,
whether
or
she
sitting
gets it or
against a
not.
wall without assistance of a chair or stool
That's
for
my
hours at a
assumption.
time. They were forced to do manual labor outdoors in the extreme summer heat, often without shoes or socks. And they were also forced to stand outside on a cement patio in the summer heat for hours and even days. They were beaten, and the 12-year-old was regularly bound hand and foot after he attempted to run away in mid-July. Both children had extensive physical injuries from the abuse that required hospitalization to treat. The injuries from the binding are particularly bad. In addition to the physical abuse, the children were emotionally abused. They each believed to some degree that they deserved what was being done to them. Had the older of the two children not had the courage to run away and ask a neighbor to call the police, heaven only knows how much longer he could have survived. After being caught, Ms. Hildebrandt has shown little to no remorse for her actions. In telephone conversations that will be provided in full to the Board of Pardons and Parole, and which she knew to be recorded, she's repeatedly claimed that she is the victim and the children are the perpetrators. She's gone so far as to say
Ruby
that the
helped
things said
herself
in
by
this
taking
proceeding and covered by the
responsibility.
media
I can
today
say that.
will be full of lies. The combination of three factors make Ms. Hildebrandt a significant threat to the community.
And both of them pleading
First, the
guilty
severity of the
was a good
abuse
thing.
she caused to be inflicted on young children.
Instead of dragging
Second, her
everybody,
attitude that everything she did was
taxpayers, through a
justified
bunch of
and
damn
that she is
bullshit.
being wrongfully imprisoned. And third, her training as a therapist and aptitude for using online resources to convince others to follow her guidance. Utah Code Section 76.3.401 lays out three factors that the court should consider in determining whether to impose concurrent or consecutive sentences. The first is the gravity and circumstances of the offense. The second is the number of victims. And the third is the history, character, and rehabilitative need of the defendant. As agreed to in the plea agreement and as recommended by Adult Probation and Parole, consecutive sentences are appropriate here. This is due to the severity of the abuse to the two victims and the extreme need for Ms. Hildebrandt to be rehabilitated so that she no longer will present a risk to the community. The state respectfully requests that she be sentenced to 4 consecutive terms.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Terry?
Thank you, Your Honor. I will be brief. As is always the case in cases that come before courts, there are two sides to every case. And and even in a case like this, that remains the case. There are many allegations regarding these two individuals, Ms. Franke and my client, Ms. Hildebrandt. The only facts in this case that are adjudicated facts are those set forth in the plea agreement that she entered into freely and knowingly and voluntarily. Those facts, those adjudicated facts are significant. They certainly provide a basis for the
So this
pleas
is all
and
based
provide
on
a
the
basis
plea.
for the
They already
stipulated
had all
sentence
this
in this case.
worked out. I didn't realize that.
My experience with Ms. Hildebrandt is that she is not the person that she has been portrayed to be. But having said that, she has accepted responsibility in this case. She has entered into this plea agreement with a stipulated sentence of 4 consecutive sentences. She did that at the time she entered into the plea agreement, knowing that that would be the court's order. She is before the court today, knowing that that will be the court's order, and she fully accepts that. She accepts responsibility and she accepts the consequences for her conduct. And we will submit it to the court on the stipulated agreement.
Mr. Terry, you suggested that there are two sides to every case. I generally agree with you. Ms. Hildebrandt didn't make a statement to AP&P in the course of the pre-sentence investigation report.
Correct.
Why did she not make a statement?
She wanted to reserve her right to make a statement before the court today, and she has a brief statement that she wants to read, Your Honor.
Okay.
And
all right. Ms. Hildebrand? Go ahead.
No, I think 3 years.
I sincerely love these children. I desire for them to heal physically and emotionally. One of the reasons I did not go to trial is that I did not want them to emotionally relive the experience which would have been detrimental to them. My hope and prayer is that they will heal and move forward to have beautiful lives. I am willing to submit to what the state feels would be an appropriate amount of time served to make retribution as an outcome.
And in answer to your question, Your Honor, I knew that whatever she might say to the author of the pre-sentence report would probably sound hollow and self-serving, and perhaps it does today. But I know that my client in the statement she makes in court today, that statement is absolutely sincere.
You know, this is why Rose got out before 10
recognize
years.
that it's her behavior that caused the harm to the children that she's referred to in her statement?
Your Honor, she recognizes that she was, along with Miss Franke, that she made decisions with respect to the discipline of those children that were wrong,
Ruby Franke
that caused
owed her
harm to
children.
those children.
This is just
She
a
fully recognizes that and
horrible
accepts
person.
responsibility for that.
But the mother of those children should
Anything
be
else?
responsible for the kid.
Okay.
And so is her dad, so he can get bent too.
Ms. Hildebrand, this circumstance is tragic. It's largely, of course, of your making. By any measure, your conduct in this case was disastrous for these children. Adults are supposed to protect children. Adults with specialized training in particular are supposed to protect children. You didn't do that in this case. In this case, you terrorized children, and the results have been tragic. It's what happened to these children and your philosophy in dealing with them, frankly, seems detached from reality or any objective standard of decency or even common sense. And the court finds that it is appropriate that you serve a prison sentence. The court finds under the statute, Utah Code 76-3-401, that given the gravity and circumstances of the offenses, the number of victims, and the history and character and needs of the defendant, that consecutive sentences are appropriate.
I agree, Lena,
The
but
court
not
imposes
legally.
4 1 to 15-year sentences to be again served consecutively for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. The last thing I do need to tell you is that you only have 30 days to file or perfect an appeal of any error of the court by filing a written notice of appeal with the clerk of the court. If you don't do that, you will lose your right to appeal. That has to be filed in writing and again within 30 days. You also have the right to the assistance of an attorney and to have an attorney appointed if you cannot afford to hire your own. Thank you. We're in recess.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Well, I don't know about you folks, but I found that those 2 sentencings to be extraordinary. I have another guest that we're going to bring on the show, Natalie Whittingham-Burrell, with us, criminal defense lawyer. Natalie, let me go to you on this with that criminal defense lawyer experience. I mean, here is the tale of 2 different defendants with 2 completely different approaches with regard to how to go about sentencing. Jody, we'll get into her, I guess, in more detail, effusively appraising, if you will, everyone who was involved in the case, including
Okay, so it looks like what happened is a lot of times you they plead, but they don't know for sure what they'll be getting at sentencing. They both knew what they were actually going to get. That was part of the plea agreement. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. So I think that's the way it really, obviously it played out exactly as a plea agreement. And everyone can hate me if you want to, but I'm very happy that they did not put it through a trial and drag their families and children and the taxpayers through a bunch of bullshit. That's my opinion. I can never stand when people insist on taking it to court when they damn well know they did it. So I think that, Utah will keep him as 30-year. Oh, okay. I don't know. I would expect that they probably will get paroled at 4 years, I guess. They're horrible women. I don't think they will ever have their children. I don't think Ruby will ever have her children again. That's the biggest consecutive. So they both can see parole board at 12. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Well, that really does suck. 12 months is, that's if you can put it into months, really needs to be, I don't think they'll get it. Yeah, I don't think she'll have her children back. I think she's really screwed with all that. That's my opinion. I mean, I think as a mother, she should have gotten more time. But then again, you have to think about Jody supposedly, that's her, she supposedly is educated in all this. I mean, she actually has, a higher responsibility in the sense that that's what her job is. I mean, obviously they're disgusting, foul people. Nobody likes them. To think that they were going to get, life was not very realistic. Well, it wasn't, clearly. Who has a kid? I don't even know. I don't know if Kevin does or not. Does anybody know if Kevin I hope he doesn't. He didn't give a shit about him. Right. You know what? I think 8 years would have been very, very, very fair, Frazzle. That's my opinion. Yep. I think the dad needs to be charged too. He clearly failed those kids by not giving a shit about what was happening. If it's a people crime, maybe 36. If all depends on prison parole board, they both have clean records, so they could be out after a year plus. Okay, I thought they might be in state custody. I thought so. I think 8 would be extremely appropriate. You guys got to look at that woman not too long ago that killed her child, and she got straight probation, not a damn day of jail, not 1 day. I mean, people don't get what they should be getting these days, not at all. She did have abusive, that's the thing. But you got to figure, Frazzle, the thing is, to you and I call that abuse, the way she treated those kids. But legally, that's not abuse. And quite frankly, today, most people are doing nothing but kissing kids' ass so damn bad they won't behave themselves for a damn second. I agree that kids need to be punished, quite frankly, because nobody, thinks that that needs to happen at all today. Yeah, but legs to what? To what? Really, you think she should get life for that? That's not very realistic. It's actually not. I mean, she's a disgusting person, but there's a whole fucking lot of them out there. A whole lot. Oh, they are. People are getting out without any bond. You guys, Michelle is driving a fucking vehicle around today. How she hasn't killed somebody, I don't fucking know. That was me eating. Me too, Miranda. I had to make myself some dip. Some murders don't even get any time. It's crazy. To me, it's absolutely crazy. First of all, you can't be rehabilitated. If you're going to hurt a child, then I don't trust that you're ever okay again. Damn sure don't need to be around children ever again. Takes a special person to fucking hurt a child and to torture them. There's something definitely wrong with you. Oh, absolutely not, Lena. I am not suggesting that they need. No, don't think I am. I am by no means suggesting that at all. Hell no. No, I wouldn't have that. No one would treat my kids like that. Not even the way she did before. I mean, that shit taking the bed away and shit. Who does that? Who even thinks about taking a child's bed away? That's not even a normal thing to think about doing. Not in my opinion. I mean, when you ground a child or something, nobody has ever said you're grounded from your bed. I mean, that's just fucking crazy. To me, it is. I don't think that's against the law, though. I don't believe her either, but I do think that she has a car. Maybe she doesn't. Of course, I don't believe a damn word out of her mouth. Ever. No, I don't believe. I never believe anything she says. Not ever, ever. Right. Okay, I was going to say, Lena, you know I don't agree with that. You know I don't. There is not at one moment that I would believe anything that she says. That's what I said. So she didn't, she wasn't driving drunk. She didn't, every single thing she got charged with, she didn't do any of it. None of it. Right. You mean countries. I understand, not counties. I get you. I understood that. But you know what, though, Mirandy? Let me tell you, here in Arizona, your very first DUI, that car is impounded for 30 days. You are not getting it back for 30 days. By the fifth one, you should not. Driving a vehicle should have been way in your history. Way in your history. Well, did you hear her story? How, the chief of police, I don't know. I was about ready to hear that the chief of police calls her pipsqueak too, for fuck's sake. She acts like they're all her friends. Are you kidding me? There's not a single person on this damn earth that can stomach her. Right, Brand? Oh, exactly. Exactly. Are you kidding me? There would be no way I would make it to 5 of them. No way. I would be behind bars. I would be, I don't even know what to say. Like, oh, and here in Arizona, I mean, one will cost you a damn fortune. You will lose the vehicle. You will lose your license. You will spend time in jail. For just one here. I don't know how she does. How can you possibly though? But seriously, the way she said that she called, the chief of police called her and then came and got her, and shut the fuck up. Seriously, Queen, I don't even know who she is, but she definitely is. And the way she always calls her mom, I'm like, just stop it. You damn nut. I don't know famous people who can get by with this shit like this. She is. That's exactly right, Legs. I'm telling you, they're going to be very damn sorry over there whenever she hurts somebody. Pray to God she doesn't. But can you imagine somebody doing something to you or your child? God forbid your child, and to find out it's their 5th fucking DUI? Right? Oh my God, Mirandy. I know. And she said he made fun of her. Or made fun of her. Oh my God, you're right, Randy. That's hilarious. Well, I don't even believe about 2 jobs. I never believed she was sober, not for 10 fucking minutes. I don't care if she's sober. She needs to stop driving. She does. She does, DC. She always said, well, I was on the phone with mom. And then, of course, which she doesn't have to stop and tell everybody. I knew who she was talking about. And I don't know this woman from Adam at all. I've just heard her, go, Veronica, whatever the fuck that means. I don't know who she is, but she always wants to make sure she calls her mom about 3 times before she tells you who it is. Well, we knew it wasn't your mom. We know that you're an idiot and a liar and a fucking drunk. She does, Lena. She does. And I don't even know how to find her damn channel. I never have. Even when I look for it and want to find it, I can't. But I have heard that many times. Oh my God. So it is exactly, DC. That's the whole thing. And that's what, she likes shit like that. I'm not kidding you. The way she talked about the way that chief of police called her and told her to come down there. And she said, well, she didn't have a car. Or, oh no. What did she tell him? She had gone off the, gone off the wagon for a minute, just that once, and couldn't drive. And I'm surprised she didn't, actually, quite honestly. So he went and had someone pick her up. And he was like, okay, Michelle, blah, blah, blah. Not even kidding you. It is all bullshit, Randy. Of course it is. Like I said, I was waiting for her to come out saying he called her pipsqueak too. Fucking idiot. That, I just can't, honest to God, I can't believe it. But you guys, did you hear her say something that I bet is true? Oh my God. You know what she did say with all this shit? She said 2 weeks ago, she got a warning about the damn registration. And she tried to say, first of all, that the registration was fine. It's just that it was in the window. No, it wasn't fine. And because then she busted out saying it was expired. But, what she was telling them was things like, well, I'm going to move. And, I've got a job. I don't have time. Who doesn't fucking have a job and have to manage their time, Michelle? That doesn't mean shit to anybody. I'm telling you. So she was pulled over 2 weeks ago. I guarantee you guys, that 4th DUI wasn't some kind of something that they figured out. That was, I'm thinking another damn DUI. I'll bet you. She's crazy ass. Pipsqueak mini. No, remember she said that, remember that's what she said. NTN calls her. Oh, okay. Special rules for special people. Remember that whenever she said, whenever she was pretending that she was NTN and texting everybody to say that Michelle was in the hospital. He called her Pipsqueak. No, I don't believe. Not for one day, I don't think. Nope. So what did the poll tell us? Wow, we got 20 people to vote in the poll. That was awesome. Yeah, remember? Yeah, that was his little nickname for her. Remember when she was in the hospital and he went back to calling her old little nickname. Nothing but lies, lies, lies. You imagine trying to come up with all this shit. She's something else, man. I cannot with her. Honestly, though, when I heard about this last night, I was absolutely pissed off. I'm not kidding. Somebody needs to beat her ass. That is dangerous. It's ridiculous. Oh. I'm going to come out in a second, baby. I'm gonna come out. Okay, sorry about that. Can I change my vote? They all got gifts, in my opinion. There has been no justice. Yeah, I know. Well, look at Kayla. Kayla's going to do about the same amount of time. Actually, Kayla has pretty much the exact same type of time. Exactly, Queen. And that's just it. I don't give a shit what she does to her damn self. I really don't. She is hell-bent to ruin her damn life. There's no question about that. She literally insists, you cannot argue that. She is hell-bent to ruin her life. But if somebody gets hurt because of her, that is going to be fucking not okay. I know, me too. Me too. I'm telling you, DC, I know. I know. I asked Molly, I'm like, can you believe all of this damn shit has come from a rope, for Pete's sake? God, what a mess. Yeah. But like I said, look at what, I mean, you got to think, look at what Kayla's getting. You know, honestly, you guys, I mean, there was part of me that she would drive me crazy. Once they let her get up there and just really take over on everybody, I wanted her to drop her too. But some of that shit did make me laugh my ass off. I mean, she's so incredibly rude. That's just, like that's the one what is there good about her? Nothing. She's out there driving drunk. She's hateful and mean as can be. I know Justin did not like it either. It was so cringe, my God. All of it. My God. But I do love Molly Walter. That kills me. I love that shit. That stuff had me in stitches. Yep. Yep. That's exactly right. Funny shit. So now we've got that out of the way. I'm going to look for the Velarde case. They're supposed to be in court today, too. A lot going on in the... And what the hell is going on with... Did I hear that Bullhorn Betty said that Audrey Cunningham was found? Because she wasn't. I sure as shit hope she didn't do that. If she did that, she needs to fucking stop her shit too. Because that is another one. I think she's lost her fucking mind. That is not cool. If it's true, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I'm hearing. And it's batshit nuts as she's been lately. Who knows? Oh, well, I'm going to put, we're going to get this back going. I'm going to try to look for the Velarde situation. Let's see where they're at on here. Wow, quite a bit more of this woman. Wow. What the hell?
All right, ma'am, you are excused.
Thank you.
Any objection to her being excused? Without objection. Just please be careful of the
Yes.
wires. State will call its next witness.
Okay, well, whatever. Hey, Tough. I don't know who the next witness is either. Maybe it's the surprise one. I hope so.
This time, the state calls Captain Matthew LaRochelle to the stand.
Oh, Lena, I'm sorry. It wasn't done early. We just paused it so we could go and watch the sentencing. Sorry about that.
And Captain Rochelle, if you please go ahead and raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir. Please feel free to have a seat. As we are being recorded for the record here today, would you please state your full name and spell both your first and your last name for the record?
Sure. It's Matthew La Rochelle, Larocchelle. First name is Matthew, Matthew.
And Captain La Rochelle, as we can probably guess from your title, where are you currently employed?
I currently work for the Manchester Police Department.
How long have you been working at the Manchester Police Department?
Been with the Manchester PD for approximately 24 years. I was hired in the year 2000.
In the year 2000?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm going to ask you to maybe scoot a little bit closer to that microphone if you don't mind, just so we can make sure we can all hear you there. With regards to your time at the Manchester Police Department, are you a full-time certified officer through the state of New Hampshire?
Yes, I am.
And did you graduate from a Police Standards and Training Academy class?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember your academy number?
123rd.
123rd. Could you please go ahead and explain what are some of the different units and duties that you've been assigned while you've been at the Manchester Police Department throughout your career?
Sure. Like with any officer, I got hired in 2000. I spent about 3.5 or 4 years in patrol. I went from patrol to our community policing unit. I worked in CP for a couple of years. And then in 2007, I was assigned to our detective division as an investigator.
So detective in 2007?
Yes.
All right. And from there, I see that you're a captain now. How long did you spend at the detective unit and when did you change ranks?
So I was a detective for about 7 years. In 2013, I got promoted to the rank of sergeant. I went back to the street as a street sergeant. Did about 3 years as a street sergeant in the patrol division. At what point I went to back to our juvenile investigative unit in 2015 as a supervisor, as a sergeant.
In 2015 in the juvenile unit?
Yes, sir.
And could you please just, for the jury's benefit, explain what type of criminal investigations does the juvenile unit conduct?
Sure. So the juvenile unit is part of the investigative division overall. We investigate crimes against children, specifically sexual and physical assaults against children.
So being there as a sergeant in 2015, what was your next change in rank and what unit did you work with?
So I worked in the juvenile unit until 2018. I was actually promoted in 2018 to lieutenant. I stayed in that unit. Again, that unit falls under the investigative division. So at that point, my role increased a little bit in the fact that I incorporated the domestic and sexual violence unit. So under the umbrella of investigative division, there's the juvenile unit and the domestic and sexual violence unit. Both units have their own sergeants. I got promoted to lieutenant and then oversaw both of those units at that time until my most recent promotion in 2022.
So with regards to being the lieutenant over the juvenile unit, and you said also the sexual assault
look,
unit at the
here's your bowl.
you were there in
Oh.
2019,
Here.
2020, 2021, and 2022, correct?
Yes, I was.
You said that you were promoted in 2022. What rank did you get promoted to?
In 2022, I was promoted to captain.
She really did do that, Becca?
Community Affairs Division at this point.
And what does the
Damn, that
Community
is
Affairs
messed
Division
up.
do?
Community Affairs Division corporate encompasses community policing and our traffic unit. So essentially, neighborhood-specific concerns, concerns that the average.
Oh, it's not on the other
officer
channel?
that's out
What?
handling calls and going call to call.
Huh.
If they can't focus on
I don't know
an
then.
issue or a community issue, we can designate one of our 12 officers to go and handle that specific issue.
From the time that you were working in the juvenile unit, were you involved in the investigation into the disappearance of Harmony Montgomery?
Yes, I was.
What were some of the things that you did as part of that investigation? What were some of your duties there?
Obviously, when that report came into us, it was kind of an all hands on deck type thing. Obviously, full resources of the police department and our partner agencies. My role was just general oversight, guidance. The detectives working on the case had their assignments, and we just there were several supervisors that oversaw that case. But just generally making sure the detectives doing the work had what they needed, coordination with other entities, other agencies throughout the state, local and state agencies that we worked with.
You talked about local and state agencies you worked with. Could you go ahead and kind of tell us about some of the different agencies that you were a liaison with for this investigation?
Sure. So we worked closely with state police. We worked with New Hampshire Fish and Game. Several searches that we conducted were with Fish and Game. They assisted us. We worked with federal partners. We had the FBI was involved. So we had folks from all kinds of different agencies in and out of our office for months. The U.S. Marshal Service had a designated deputy that was assigned to this investigation, and just kind of the liaison between everybody.
Okay. Did you ever work or liaison yourself with other agencies out of state or outside of federal government?
Yes, I did.
Okay. With regards to also some of the other duties that you've had on this case, was part of that at different times to listen to jail calls that were made?
Yes,
from other
We're back to
individuals?
Adam
And other
Montgomery.
times were you
Gobby,
asked to
sorry.
listen to other lawfully recorded calls that were made?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And
Sorry
finally,
about all
with
that.
regards to physical searches, what was your role with regards to any physical searches that were made?
We did physical searches of many different locations throughout the city. We did searches of a wooded area on the west side. We did searches of the riverfront area on the north end of the city. We did searches of Bear Brook State Park, which is, if you're not familiar, just about a half an hour north of here. We did searches out of state that I was familiar with. I wasn't directly involved in those, but several searches throughout the course of a 6-month period.
All right, I'd like to get to each one of those searches, but I want to start with kind of staying at home with regards to in Manchester. At any point during the investigation, did you have any contact with individuals at the Manchester School District about Harmony Montgomery?
Yes, I did.
And why did you do that?
I reached out to the school district just basically in the early days, early on in the investigation, to see what kind of contacts they might have had with Harmony, if she was ever enrolled in school or not.
Okay. And with regards to that, did you discover whether she was ever enrolled in school in the Manchester School District?
I discovered that she was not enrolled.
What about in any of their records for early enrollment programs for younger children?
They had no record of Harmony Montgomery or her date of birth in their system.
You talked about some of the searches that were conducted. I'd like to know what searches for Harmony did you personally participate in?
I mentioned the West Side search. It's an area, a large wooded area, Rock Rimmon area, if you're familiar with that area on the west side of the city, behind Mount Calvary Cemetery. It's probably hundreds of acres. We searched over there after receiving tips that led us to that area. And there was also a search, as I mentioned, on the north end of the city along the Merrimack River.
Okay. You said a search along the Merrimack River.
Yes.
Where would that have been along the river?
It's an area off of North River Road, West River Drive. There's some apartment buildings in particular that led us to that area, and we searched a wooded area along the river, adjacent to the river.
Did you participate in any of the searches of 77 Guilford Street?
Somewhat. I was there. I was not directly overseeing that portion of the investigation, but I am familiar with it.
And what about an area known as Stark Park over near River Road?
Yes, that would be the area I'm speaking of as well. That's the Stark Park area.
That particular search, that Stark Park area, what, if anything, did you coordinate to make sure that search was done?
We had reached out. I had specifically reached out to New England Canine Recovery. That's an organization that has canine teams, handlers with their canine partners that specifically search wooded areas for. They do search and recovery, but they also do. They can do cadaver work as well.
And did you contact them to search those areas?
I did.
Were there any searches that were done in that area, not necessarily on land, but on water?
There were. We searched with the assistance of New Hampshire Fish and Game. We searched the area of the Merrimack River. Again, if you're familiar with that area, it's the area of the dam, the Eversource Dam, and then it would have been northerly above the dam. We did a full day search of that area.
Searching the dam, were you present for that search?
I was.
Okay.
And I was present by shore. I was not physically on the boats with Fish and Game, but I was in the area.
From shore, were you able to observe how that search of the dam was conducted?
I was.
And how was it conducted?
Fishing Game utilizes several of their officers in boats. They have teams. I can't accurately testify to what those consist of, but there's several people in the boat. For safety reasons, they have an officer that's hooked up to oxygen that they put in the water that they're actually dragged behind the boat while they're physically searching. They also have submersible robots that they can use as well, which they utilize that day.
No, I'm sorry,
Were you
Gobby. We've been
involved at
all over the
with
place
search
today
over at
with
644
all this
Union
different
Street?
stuff going on.
Okay. Were you present there for that search?
Yes, I was.
What were some of the other agencies that were present with you when that residence was searched?
Again, that would have been our federal partners. The Federal Bureau of Investigation was there. We had members of the Marshal Service, like I said. There may have been some state police there, I'm not sure, but several entities there. That was an entire day. We pretty much took over the entire block.
Just to clarify, was the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, part of that search as well?
Yes, they were.
I'd like to ask you, with your work in the juvenile unit, have you heard of an organization, sometimes also referred to as NCMEC or NECMEC?
Yes, I have.
And what is that, the NCMEC? What does that stand for? What is this organization?
So NECMEC is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They're a national organization that facilitates and organizes searches they assist law enforcement. We can call them with info. They can call us with info. I was basically the direct liaison between this investigation and that organization. I probably spent time on the phone with them at least once a week during this investigation.
Had you worked with them before for children who were missing or believed to be exploited?
I had.
Okay. And what was some of the information that you provided to them as part of your work with them to try to find harmony?
Specific to this case,
Yes.
We basically provided them any photos that we had. We asked them to do the same. And at one point when a DNA profile was identified for Harmony, we provided that to them as well.
Did you ever personally reach out to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about tips that they had generated that needed follow-up?
Yes, I did.
And I want to ask you about some of those tips. Did you ever receive a tip that Harmony was alive in a place called Surprise, Arizona?
Yes, we did.
What did you do to follow up on that tip?
So we got the information anonymously that Harmony was alive and attending a school in Surprise, Arizona. I personally reached out to that police department, tried to make contact with an officer. I think I spent 2 or 3 days working on that. Eventually, we were able to get an SRO, which is a school resource officer. School resource officers are typically assigned by municipalities to focus on schools. So they sent their school resource officer to that school to make contact with the person that we had a photo of and actually made an eyes-on identification.
So even though it's a town nowhere near New Hampshire, it's in Arizona, you still followed up on that lead?
Yes, I did.
Why?
We're working, again, it's an all hands on deck investigation. It's the most important investigation we've ever worked on, and we're dealing with a 7-year-old missing child.
To show you Commemorative States Exhibit 101. Do you know this man?
Yes.
Who is it?
It's Adam Montgomery.
Have you seen him in person before?
Yes, I have.
Have you heard him speak before?
Yes, I have.
Have you heard him talk to other people before?
Yes, I have.
Can you recognize his voice in person?
I can.
And can you recognize his voice over the phone?
Yes,
Have you reviewed some lawfully recorded calls of his voice?
I have.
And with regards to those particular calls, I'm going to show you what's been marked States Exhibit 156 for identification. I'd like to ask you whether or not you recognize that exhibit. Feel free to open up the envelope.
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
This is a disc containing a phone call made by Adam Montgomery, which I have listened to, and it actually has my signature on it.
Your signature?
Yes.
Now, Let me ask you, with regards to that particular, it's got your signature on this disc itself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, with regards to that particular call, is that an entire call or is that a portion of a lawfully recorded call that you listened to?
I believe this is a portion of a call that's longer. It's an 8-minute call. I believe this is shorter than that.
Have you heard all of the original recorded call?
Yes, I have.
With regards to what you listened to on that particular CD, is that accurate in terms of that portion of the call that you heard originally is unchanged for part of it that's on that CD?
That is accurate. Yes, sir.
So that this is a small piece of the whole.
Correct.
Also, with regards to that call, separate from that, is there any sort of visual component to that call on that disc as you reviewed it? Basically, is there a transcript of what is said in the recording as you listen?
Yes.
Have you reviewed that transcript, the words that are on the page?
Yes, I have.
Is that accurate for that particular phone call?
Yes, it is.
Is it accurate for the identifying properly Adam Montgomery's voice?
Yes.
Is it accurate for identifying the generally?
You like that crazed?
Called another individual?
Yes.
Me too.
This time, Your Honor, I'd ask I'd ask the court to strike exhibit number 156 and be entered as a full exhibit.
Any objection?
Subject to the prior conference at the bench.
All right, the ID is stricken and it's entered as a full exhibit.
I agree.
Michelle, with regards to this particular CD, I preloaded.
She damn sure allowed it.
This onto an area of the drive, and it's my
She didn't treat her,
defense objection.
whether she hit her or not, she didn't
What I would
treat
like
her
you to
right.
do, please, detective, is to be able to listen to the entire recording, and then I may have some questions for you as we go through.
Okay.
Detective, my eyes are failing me with regards to it. Is there a button on there for view to say full screen?
About halfway down.
Or more? This it?
Yeah.
No, she didn't, Tough. She sure shit didn't.
Play this one.
Yeah, you didn't see that you got the money in it? No, not yet, Sean. I just wasted this little bit of money. How much did you put on there? Don't tell me you don't say things put money on there like that, though. Nah, I just put like $25. All right, yeah, that seems a little crazier than I was gonna pay you for, but all right. Yeah, so whatever. I'll stay on the phone right now with it and fucking, so I just had my lawyer, send me super body nigga shit, bro, like, I think like 800 pages in Montgomery. I think they're up to like 5,000 pages now, or something like that. And, she was like doing like a roller coaster. Like, bro, people, the shit you hear people come up with and some of the shit that these people make one dude with one people outbreak all the way. Carrie was like, oh my God, it's like a roller coaster. She was like, oh my God. I hope this kid didn't do this, and it turned out to be nothing. And then, oh my God, something didn't do this, and it turned out to be nothing. He got something like, he gave a report to the police and was like, oh, my friend, he passed away, but he was very cool with Adam. Only Adam gave it to his daughter to hang to carry out a girl and bring to the swamp and the FBI and everything. I'm like,
That voice just said, and was on that transcript indicated with Adam saying that they wasted their time. Is that Adam Montgomery's voice? believe you just testified a moment ago on direct that there was a search by the river, correct?
Yes, there was.
And you also testified that there were searches involving the FBI. Is that also?
Yes.
Sure, they have to, I'm sure they have to take everything that's said to them, no matter how outlandish, seriously, and they have to do their due diligence. But I can get that, I can grasp that, right? But dude, my friend who died, who is cool as Adler, you don't even know what your friend's name was. Told me that it was very person that was here, like, what the fuck? Like, you just, even like, way to just waste taxpayers' money, I guess, too, let's get, I don't know, bro, like, I just feel like that's just so, like, yeah, outlandish, bro, like, there's no other way to describe it, it's like, I get.
Did he just say wasting taxpayers' money?
That's just, it seems something so bizarre to me that you're gonna just think about how much money that you're wasting.
How much money you got from taxpayers to buy drugs and not feed your kids? Wow.
And what fucking, like, the cost, man, like you just chase down people that fucking call in from Arizona and say, oh, I seen that child out here at this restaurant, and fly out to the fucking restaurant to get video surveillance. I don't know, it seems like it's going, like, to an extent that, like, it's fancy almost, like, I don't know, instead of just considering other options, you just gotta take these fucking nut jobs that are calling because they want fucking limelight for 2 seconds because somebody might have known me or seen me in passing or written something, oh, I know that kid, let me tell you about this and that, and just, I don't know, man, I don't fucking know.
Captain Larry Shell. You heard the defendants say on there that they just wasted their time, with regards to searches. Were those some of the searches that you told us that you were involved in?
Yes.
And when you heard him describe in that call saying that it was just a way to waste taxpayers' money, dude, was that transcript accurate as to his words?
Yes.
When you heard the defendant say, just think about how much money you're wasting in an effort to prove something, is that part of the transcript accurate?
Yes, it is.
And is that what you heard said by Adam Montgomery?
Yes, it is.
And when you heard the defendant say, I get it, you're trying to prove a case, kudos to you, but at what cost, man? You're just going to chase down people from Arizona. Is that part of the transcript accurate?
Yes, it is.
And the tip that you described for us a moment ago that you worked on from Surprise, Arizona, is that the tip that you chased down?
Yes, it is.
Do you agree with what the defendant said in the call, that your work to find harmony was a waste of time and money?
We have an objection. Hold on. The objection sustained.
Captain Larochelle, with regards to the transcript that you've just taken us through, is that a fair and accurate account of the defendant's statements as you recognize them to be?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Captain. I have no further questions for you. Defense may.
No questions.
All right, sir, you may step down.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with that, the state rests.
All right, counsel, just approach for just 1 minute.
You're here to learn about street.
I wonder what is going on.
I know from my school, Monsters University. It's the best scaring school there is. You wish. You guys watch us and tell me which school is the best. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know there have been a lot of stops and starts today, and part of what I was discussing with the lawyers at the bench is what's most prudent so that we're respectful of your time as we can be. The state has now rested their case. So for tomorrow, there will be a determination as to whether or not the defense wishes to present any evidence. As I've already told you before, the defendant has no obligation to prove his innocence in this case. The burden is on the state to prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. So if the defense wishes to, they may present evidence, but they may choose not to. That is their right. Then should they decide that they wish to present evidence, that would happen tomorrow. We would begin there. And then beyond that, it would be time for closing arguments and final instructions. So that's where we are.
Yep, DC, me too.
Release you for the day today, for the rest of the day. I'm going to have you come back tomorrow morning at 9:45. Okay, so we'll have a 10 a.m. start. I'll ask you to come back tomorrow at 9:45 a.m. a little bit later. I really want to try to see if we can make sure that we've done all the business that needs to be done and that we're ready for you at 10 a.m. Once again, I cannot
I have a feeling that he's going to take the stand.
Read anything about this case, not watch any news about the case. Don't read anything in the papers or on social media, anywhere else on the internet. You're not to discuss the case with each other or with anyone else. Don't do any independent research. Don't drive by any of the locations. As has been the case throughout this trial, the
So
lawyers
did we
have
not
instructed
get
they're
that
not to
other witness
communicate
or
with
not?
you. So please,
I don't
once
know.
again, don't hold it against them. if
Maybe
they
that was the
pass
one
through
from
hallway
jail.
without acknowledging your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow morning at 9:45. All rise for the jurors, please.
Michael, what do you have to say for yourself?
Okay, so that's going to start later tomorrow. I know today, I had it written down that today was the day that the Velardis would appear in court. I don't see anything on it, but it looks like they were there last week. So let's see. I'll see if I can find something for us to find out what happened. Okay, let me see. I'll show you this part. Thought we were going to find out more about what evidence they have on them.
Breaking news now, updating you on a story. A judge has denied a bond request for two people who are charged in that 2015 quadruple murder in Pendleton.
Amy and Ross Velarde are charged with the murders of 4 family members. Deputies say all 4 were found shot to death in their home on Refuge Road in November of 2015. The Velardes were arrested back in December. The 2 were in court earlier this week for the bond request hearing.
Oh, please do, Queen. Thank you.
Made to light up the room.
Some new details tonight. A married couple is accused of killing 4 family members in Pendleton almost a decade ago. Today, they're in court, though, requesting to get out of jail.
Now, Amy and Ross Velarde are both charged with 4 counts of murder. They were arrested in December, denied bond. Today, they were in court requesting bond again. A couple's accused of killing Michael and Kathy Scott, Barbara Scott and Violet Taylor. They were found dead in a home on Refuge Road. Investigators say it's one of the most brutal crimes they've seen in Anderson County. Now, today in court, Barbara Scott's daughter spoke about the effect the crime has had on her and her family and asked the judge to deny their bond.
Our lives are forever altered from this brutal crime. Everything was taken from us that day, and we've had to continue with little answers. I lost my best friend, my only sibling, Mike, and my mother. I haven't been able to share my grandchildren with them. I've had to navigate a whole new normal without them.
Now, Amy Velarde's defense attorney says the couple should be allowed out of jail, and the length of time since the crime proves that they aren't a flight risk.
They, for 8 years, were able to move where they wanted. They could visit where they wanted, travel where they wanted, run if they wanted, move to a country that doesn't have extradition if they wanted, but they didn't. They stayed here. If they were going to run, they would have run. They knew, they named him as suspects. He's been on their property. They hired me. They did not run.
Now, during the hearing, prosecutors said Amy Velarde was the mastermind behind the crime, that the couple was struggling financially. Prosecutors said $87,000 was found in the Velarde's mobile. Was found in the Velarde's mobile.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not finished. That won't finish. Oh, Lord. Doesn't sound like anything's going to happen there. So all we know is they were denied bond again. I'll see if I can come up with, we've got an arrest affidavit or anything yet. It wasn't being released. I thought as of today, maybe we would get that information, but right now it doesn't look like it, but I'll keep looking for it. So I guess we will call it a day. And tomorrow we will start later with court starting later tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a great day, great rest of your day. And hey, we might be on verdict watch tomorrow. I think that's quite possible. We know they're not going to have a lot of witnesses, the defense. Yes, you too, Lena. Thank you. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks.